Good morning and happy New Year to everybody. Even though it's the second week, I can still say Happy New Year to y'all. Um, so let me share the agenda, which is a brief agenda for today. And we're going to start by hearing from partners for the Community Columbus Organizing Together project. I'm George Friday. I live in Gastonia, North Carolina, and I staff your meetings. I am your consultant. So I'm the person who lets you know when you're winding down on your 3 minutes. This morning we'll have updates from the partners that are 3 minutes each. And after you've gone 2 minutes, I'll give you the 1 minute warning. And then when your 3 minutes are done, I'll mute you and we'll go to the next partner. Let's start with Goodwill and then the Housing Authority, and then we'll go on to other folks. So Tricia, can you start us off?
Good morning. I'm going to leave my camera off as my lighting is not good. So I hope this new year has met you all well and healthy. Brief updates from Goodwill. We are in full swing as it relates to preparing people for work and connecting them to work. Those of you that are on our monthly list in Columbus would have received our calendar of events that are coming month. So I encourage you to share that with your clients and neighbors. I also want to let you know in the chat, I did share a link to our voluntary income tax assistance volunteer site. We are one of the largest partners with the IRS for our tax preparation program. And the backbone of this program are community volunteers who are trained to IRS standards to help in the preparation of taxes. Last year, we brought back more than $9 million into the communities we served through this program. And as of now, without any changes from the IRS, we prepare taxes free of charge from anyone making $57,000 or less. I also encourage my agency partners to share our VITA information to many of your employees. You'll find that it'll be very helpful to them as well. As you all know, in Columbus, on a very regular basis, we see in the news folks being with lines outside of tax preparation offices that have closed and gone off with their return funds. So we highly encourage those of you in the community who have your self-interest or people you know that can volunteer. We'd appreciate that, and certainly for you to share the information. Outside of that, one of the things that we continue to see in our work to prepare people for work is we have a large number of jobs. Thank you, George. A large number of job opportunities and openings in the full breadth of experience and sectors, and a very small amount of people desiring to connect to work. So I would, continue to encourage you with your neighbors, with your clients, please. We are a resource for them to help them connect back to work. That's all for my update. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Jonathan.
Hi, good morning, everyone. As far as the Housing Authority, we have unfortunately had to shut down our offices again. We've had a rise in COVID cases, not just in Columbus, but actually on our site. So we've had to close our offices again. But we are still providing information to the residents as far as through Goodwill. I know that a lot of the information that Goodwill sends out, you can do a lot of that information online. So we are allowing our family service workers to aid in the residents that need help with computers online or getting online. A lot of our residents aren't computer savvy, so they need a little bit of assistance putting in for applications, doing resumes, things of that nature. And we are allowing residents to come in by appointment only, but to help them to get that information done. We have a couple of residents who attend school through our Columbus Tech partnership. And so we are using the computers. We're allowing them to come in and use the computers when need, but they do have to make an appointment, unfortunately. And with that being said, we've had to shut the offices, so a lot of our activities that we've planned, especially with our partnership with you all, we've had to close the offices and not allow residents or kids to come into the offices to do anything in the office, just to keep the COVID case numbers down. We don't know exactly when we're going to open those offices up again, but our CEO is looking at everything and she's going to make that call. That's all I have right now.
Thanks so much for the update, Jonathan. I know, Alyssa, that you can give us an update on Evolve Columbus. And I apologize that I don't recognize the iPhone or EA Berard. I'm probably saying that wrong, but if we can hear from Alyssa, and the iPhone, and I'm going to say AE so I don't mess up the rest, then that would be great. Alyssa?
Good morning. Evolve Columbus has put on hold some things that we had planned for January, but we are currently planning a gala in March that will be using proceeds of the gala to go towards scholarships for students in the area. And so hopefully by our next meeting, we'll be able to give more details on that.
That sounds good. Thanks so much, Alyssa.
You're
So
welcome.
that's from Evolve Columbus. So Empress's iPhone, please unmute, identify yourself, and you have 3 minutes to give an update.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Christine Beckford, and I am actually working with Miss Teresa. I will be interning with the organization. This was just my first Zoom meeting to be, I guess, introduced, my introduction into the organization. So I have no updates. I'm just here listening.
Thanks for being here. Do you want to tell us anything about yourself? Glad you're an intern.
I'm put on the spot.
No problem. You don't have to say a thing if you don't care to.
Okay, thank you.
But you're welcome if you'd like. So thanks so much. So in the spirit of putting people on the spot, I'm letting in Terrence Flowers now, but AE, do you want to unmute and introduce yourself?
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Greetings. My name is Sergeant Aaron Everard with the Columbus Police Department. Chief Freddie Blackman asked me to sit in. He is involved in another meeting at this time and did not want to miss out on this opportunity to connect with folks from the community. So I am here in his stead. Just briefly, I am the Assistant Public Information Officer for the Columbus Police Department. I've been here about a dozen years. I'm also a polygraph examiner, and being a PIO, I'm involved in a lot of the sort of community connecting and community outreach. So he asked me to be here, and I'm a bit ignorant of what this meeting entails, so please bear with me.
No problem, Aaron. We're glad to have you.
Thank you.
Terrence Flowers, can you introduce yourself to folks? Not more than 3 minutes.
He come back. This on the Zoom call that they wasn't supposed to call my name.
Oh, okay. So Terrence, I muted you, and I'm going to give you the chance now to introduce yourself to folks on the Columbus Organizing Together Zoom here. So feel free to unmute and introduce yourself, Terrence.
George,
Yes, ma'am.
Terrence is at work, and he has said that he might be tied up until 11:30. So I will just quickly introduce Terrence. Terrence Flowers is a board member of the Southern Anti-Racism Network, and he also is a business person in Columbus. He has a gym and he has other businesses. And I've known Terrence for a couple of years, and he was invited to join the board of the Southern Anti-Racism Network, and he accepted, and he was installed last night at our quarterly board meeting. And Christine Beckford is someone that Terrence referred to be an intern, and she was interviewed this morning, and I was so impressed with her. She was hired, so she'll be working with the Spice Cot program as an intern for at least
Teresa's sound will come back.
representing organizations who would need to introduce themselves. George, are you there?
Yes, we didn't hear everything that you said. Your phone went out for a little bit. But I think we've got everyone covered now. Thank you. And will you continue, Teresa, to give the SARN update for 3 minutes?
No, ma'am, because the item on the agenda, that's the discussion about SARN's changing role, will be an opportunity for me to explain to Sergeant Everhart, who I did speak with yesterday. And I do apologize. I hope we can get to talk again because I was pretty upset yesterday, so forgive me. I think I'll try to get on with a different device, but I think the next item on the agenda is a COT strategy chart. And so, George, I need you to walk through that chart because that would help Sergeant Everhart to understand a little bit more about what this project is. And then we can make adjustments to the strategy chart as you go through it, starting with the left, doing the goals, and then panel by panel until we can update the strategy chart so that way Sergeant Everhart would have a better sense of what the meeting is about. Go to it, George. Thank you.
Great. So I hope everyone can see the screen that I've shared here with the Columbus Organizing Together 2-year strategy chart beginning in 2020 and going all the way through 2022. I hope it's big enough that y'all can read yourselves, but I want to go through here. We have goals, 3 primary goals that the Columbus that y'all, not we, y'all, Columbus Organizing Together collaborative has. That is to achieve clarity on equity versus equality, to increase the number of collaborative partners, and to have parent participation committees in the housing authority properties. The collaborative partners list here has been growing. I'm going to go through it quickly. There's the Ashbury United Methodist Church, Boys to Men Development, Columbus Community Center, Columbus NAACP, Columbus Public Library, Evolve Columbus, Fannie Lou Hamer branch of Women's International League for Peace and Freedom US, Fatherhood Initiative, Goodwill Industries of the Southern Rivers, Inc., Greater Columbus Chamber of Commerce, Housing Authority of Columbus, Southern Anti-Racism Network, Urban League of Greater Columbus, West Central District Department of Public Health. These are collaborative partners that have participated or requested to be listed as collaborative partners.
Well, George, we should stop there because I'm proposing this chart actually belongs to the Southern Anti-Racism Network because we've been the sponsors of the project, and there are 3 collaborative partners who have never attended a meeting and have been missing for some time. So we are eliminating the Columbus Community Center. They're pretty much unreachable these days. We're eliminating the Columbus NAACP because they have not shown that they're willing just yet to be a collaborative partner. And we're eliminating the Fatherhood Initiative, which is based at the health department. But the person who was in charge of that, I understand he's no longer in charge, and we haven't connected with them. So those are 3 collaborative partners that we're eliminating. We had some elected
Teresa loses her sound occasionally. She'll be back.
well, you can't hear me now.
Nope, we heard you say the beginning of the word elected and then you went away.
Well, the elected officials that we had listed, I see, are no longer on the chart. Did you eliminate those, George?
I did.
Okay, well, continue on to the next panel unless there are any questions.
Anyone, you can put up your hand or say stack if you have a question. I will continue then. This research was done to help determine the goals, the strategic objectives, and the activities for the strategic chart. And that research included retention data, dropout rates, and graduation data, and data from summer school programs from the Muskogee County School District. That research was collected last year, mostly through the summer. Here are the community activities that have occurred, starting with parent surveys that were turned in last November. In August, September, and October, and with Wilson Homes, there were events. There were also events with the bookmobile coming to Cross Creek Apartments and Wilson Homes last October. There was a parent summit, November 10th of last year. Fantastic. And donations that have been made to Goodwill. The Back to Basics Wilson Thanksgiving on November 16th. I think you read about that in the most recent Spice Cot report. And the Farley Homes Parents Meeting was scheduled for January 11th. Are there changes to make here? Anyone?
George, if I could interject, the November 16th Thanksgiving event that we were giving out gift cards to Piggly Wiggly to the people at Wilson. But Wilson has become such a dangerous place that we have not been able to get the kind of participation we need. And this is particularly important to you, Sergeant, because the gunfire at Wilson is on a regular basis. In addition, the person who is the parent outreach organizer there, she moved in December because she has a big bullet hole in her car. So she moved to an apartment along St. Mary's Road. She starts work at 11 every day so she can be with us for these meetings. But she's still working with the SPICE program, just not associated with the Housing Authority because Wilson has become a very dangerous place. And so in terms of the Farley Homes event, as Jonathan pointed out, We were supposed to have a meeting at Farley Homes on January 11th at 1 o'clock. And because of the COVID numbers, and I do understand, Jonathan, and I understand that Ms. Walters, the CEO, is perfectly within her rights to shut down the community centers as they were last year. But since we have an MOU with the Housing Authority, it's my expectation that when the COVID calms down, hopefully later in the spring or in the summer, the community centers will be open again, because our MOU with the Housing Authority takes us to November of 2022. And I'm pretty sure Ms. Walters will honor that. So what we need to add in the way of activities is the Fannie Lou Hamer branch of the Women's International League for Peace and Freedom will be celebrating its 1-year anniversary on March 13th. And that will be a Zoom meeting of a national kind of character. So George, if you could put Fannie Lou Hamer branch first anniversary celebration, March 13th, which is a Sunday, and it starts at 3 p.m. and it'll probably go until about 4:30, but it will be Zoom. And so all of you will get an invitation to join that event. And the kind of final event of this 2-year strategy will be the Parent Summit, which will happen on November 12th, which is a Saturday. And we're planning for it to be at the DoubleTree Hotel. So on Saturday, November 12th, the superintendent has already agreed to speak. And whoever the mayor-elect is, it may be someone other than Mayor Skip Henderson, but whoever the mayor-elect is, that person will be invited to speak. And of course, we will have all of you partners will be invited. And like we did on November 10th of 2021, we'll probably have lots of items to donate to Goodwill, and we'll have the library to speak, and other partners in the process here will be invited to speak. And this time, we're going to have a continental breakfast starting at around 8 a.m. The program will start promptly at 9, and we'll have lunch, and then the program will end at 3. And so that will happen on November 12th at the DoubleTree Hotel. So save the date. So George, I'll let you do the final strategic objectives, what we accomplished and what we have not accomplished.
All right, so these strategic objectives that began being tracked in November of 2020 include first the Memorandum of Understanding with Housing Authority of Columbus that began in November of 2020. And it's a 2-year MOU that expires in November of this year, 2022. There are also 3 years of funding that have been secured for this project from the Columbus Consolidated Government. In 2020, there were $20,000. In 2021, $20,000. But for the 2021-2022 year, $15,000. So those 3 years of funding that started in 2019 and covering the years 2019 to 2020 and ends in 2022. There was a strategic objective for the end of last year by December of 2021 to raise $5,000. Those are the strategic objectives that are on this chart. Any questions? I need you to say stack because I can't see y'all right now because I'm sharing the screen.
Well, thank you, George. Relax. The goal of raising $5,000 was partially achieved because we raised quite a few ads with the ad book. And so that totaled about $3,000 for the Parent Summit. And so we are always raising money because we will not be applying for any more crime prevention dollars because we will be seeking funding from private foundations. And it's unfortunate that many of the partners who receive crime prevention dollars are not here, and that includes Boys to Men Development. I did hear the regrets from Judge Gil McBride because he's a part of a fatherhood project, and he and I have talked that we want to work together, but he's in court this week. He's had a lot of trials he's dealing with, in some of the more horrific trials, murder trials and other trials throughout the Chattahoochee Valley Circuit. And so, but I'm glad that Adrian Chester with the IMA, he and I are meeting on next Tuesday, the 18th, to talk about deepening our partnership with the IMA. So after our meeting, we will probably be adding the IMA to the list of partners. He and I need to discuss that. And I expect that we will also add the 4th Street Missionary Baptist Church to the list of partners, since I do work closely with Dr. Flakes and Pastor Adrian Chester. So are there any questions about the Southern Anti-Racism Network, Columbus Organizing Together strategic planning chart? Particularly asking you, Sergeant Everhart.
I do not have any questions. Thank you.
Well, thank you. So what's next on the agenda, George?
I apologize. I did have one question. The DoubleTree event, I just wanted to get the events correct. The DoubleTree event, and then there was one in March, and it was on a previous slide.
March event is going to be a Zoom event.
Oh,
Let
I
me
see.
put that up for you. The March event is the anniversary celebration of the Fannie Lou Hamer branch of Women's International League for Peace and Freedom. It's the first anniversary of the founding of that branch. That'll be March 13th, Zoom at 4 p.m. The Parent Summit is at the DoubleTree in November on the 12th, a Saturday.
And what time is the Parent Summit?
The Parent Summit will begin with continental breakfast at 8 a.m. The content of the summit will start at 9 o'clock promptly, and there will be lunch served. I don't know what time lunch is on the.
Joe.
Oh, go ahead. I thought I heard Teresa's voice. But there'll be a lunch break at the Parent Summit, and then it will conclude, I believe, at 3 o'clock.
Thank you very
George.
much.
Yes. Go ahead, Teresa.
Well, I got knocked off right as Sergeant Everhart was asking his question, but we are inviting Chief Blackman to give an update on November 12th, if he's still the chief. And so we'll be asking Sheriff Countryman to do the same. The crisis that we're experiencing with the uptick in murders has us pretty upset in the community, Sergeant. And George doesn't live here, so I appreciate her stepping in to describe what she knows about the summit. But if you'll be willing to talk with me again, since you're taking Katina Williams' place, who is a bit more in tune with what we've been doing, because she has attended several of these meetings. So Sergeant Everhart, if you could say what has happened to Katina Williams. Is she gone forever, or is she just gone temporarily?
She is on a extended leave right now.
So you'll be taking her place until she returns.
That's correct. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, well, I appreciate knowing that. And like I said, if you would be willing to talk with me again, if you could put your phone number in the chat, I'd like to give you a call back. I'm so sorry. I was having such a bad day yesterday. I hope you'll forgive me. But if you'll put your direct phone number in the chat, I'll give you a call.
So
Yes, I
Teresa,
will.
thank you.
What are you saying, Sergeant? Are you willing to talk to me?
Yes, ma'am. I'm always willing to talk to you. I'm a public servant. I'm here. And I will I'll put my number in the chat.
Well, thank you, sir. So, George, I think the next item on the agenda is about the changed relationship I'm proposing. So the SARN 2022 work with Spice.
Only got about 10 minutes for this, Teresa.
George, we have as long as we need. And so the new work, we're at 11:37, George, and the meeting ends promptly at noon. And this is information that has to be imparted to people. George has been working for the Southern Anti-Racism Network as a facilitator of these meetings. Today is George's last day being paid by the Southern Anti-Racism Network. She's already been paid for the month of January to do the work that she's doing now in helping with the chart and with facilitating these meetings. What the board of the Southern Anti-Racism Network has agreed to do is reserve the funding that we have for the remainder of this fiscal year, that's from January to June, in order to hire people who are actually in the community here in Columbus. George is in Gastonia, North Carolina, and she's a regular consultant for the Southern Anti-Racism Network. So she will be doing other work for SARN, but she will not be doing work with the Columbus Organizing Together Project beyond today. And so George was paid $250 per month for facilitating these meetings. And so that comes to an end with this meeting. So we're proposing that we meet quarterly, which is January today, March, June, and September. And then we'll have the November Parent Summit, which will be November 12th. And as far as this collaboration is, we plan to continue our collaboration with the Goodwill because I am putting Goodwill in my will. So Goodwill is going to receive a gigantic bequest from me of lots of clothes and other things. So when I die, Goodwill is going to get rich. And then the Housing Authority relationship will be based on us working directly with parents who are based at Elizabeth Cantey, Farley Homes, Wilson, and Warren Williams, if those projects still exist, and that we can find parents to work there. We have not been successful because the Housing Authority does not have residence councils yet in any of those properties, which is usually how organizations like the Southern Anti-Racism Network gets to work with residents through their somewhat independent residence councils. But the Housing Authority has not been successful in getting the residents to participate. So therefore, we have not been successful in getting residents in the Housing Authority properties to participate. But as of November of 2022, the MOU ends with the Housing Authority, and we will not be asking for a new MOU. We will not be applying for any more crime prevention dollars. And so we'll be working in the community. Terrence Flowers, Christine Beckford, and others of us, Danita Gibson Lloyd, and others of us will still be working in the community on our 3 priorities, which is affordable housing, education equity, and public safety, public health. So I did want to let people know that. So at the March meeting, we would like to see one of the other partner organizations take the lead in hosting the meeting in March, and then in June, and then in September, because the Southern Anti-Racism Network would like to be seen as an equal partner and not the sponsor of this project going up through November. And so I would like to ask Tricia Conan if Goodwill would be kind enough to take charge of the meeting in March and to do the agenda and lead the meeting in whatever fashion you would like. So that is a question for you, Tricia Conan. Would you be willing?
Thank you for thinking about us. Unfortunately, I can't do that in March or June, but I'd be happy to do that in September. So hopefully another agency will be able to handle March and June.
I'll ask you, Alyssa, you may be moving towards a different role, but you won't be taking that role up until January of 2023. So would Evolve Columbus be willing to facilitate the March meeting? Is Alyssa still there?
I'm on. I had to come off mute, Miss Elamina. I apologize. I would say we'll take on the March meeting. That'll be fine. I can do that for you.
Great. Well, you and I can talk about it because, you know, we work together on different occasions, and you were once the SPICE coordinator. So I'll be glad to help with you. But we do want Evolve Columbus to play a role as one of the important partners in this process. So now that that question is settled, are there any questions about what I described about the changing role of the Southern Anti-Racism Network in this project as we move through the year to get to November? Because in November, we will be handing the checkbook over for the SPICE program. And the plan is to donate $1,000 to the SPICE program as an independent organization of parents throughout the city, because we've been collecting hundreds of surveys at the Housing Authority properties, as well as in districts 7, 4, and 3. I mean, Casita Road, I mean, Fort Benning Road, I mean, Torch Hill, I mean, North Lumpkin Road. I do mean Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. So the poorest people in this community with parents in elementary schools have been surveyed. And Destiny Wallace is calling, she's calling those parents, hundreds of parents, and I'm calling the hundreds of parents that we surveyed at Warren, Williams, and Canty. And Danita Gibson Lloyd is calling the hundreds of parents that we surveyed at mostly Wilson, but we did survey about 25 parents at Farley. So we called them all thinking they might show up on Monday, the 11th. But I was there and no one showed up for the first 20 minutes. So we left, but we'll continue to call them, Jonathan, to see if they're willing to participate because churches in the community are going to open up their doors while the housing authority is shut down. So we will be shuttling your parents. We will be hiring shuttle services to pick up the interested parents who need transportation to get them to outside venues away from the housing authority. But we would like to get that new list of the new tenants so that we can reach out to them as promised by the MOU. We will get that new list in May of 2022. Please confirm, Jonathan, that we will be given that list in May.
Yes, ma'am. We can make sure you all get that.
Well, thank you. And so, George, as you can see, we're just at 11:47. So are there any questions from anyone? I would suggest you look over the strategy chart and look over the monthly report because the Southern Anti-Racism Network, in the spirit of accountability, will be sending out our monthly reports. So our crime prevention report, we try to send it out by the 3rd of the month. And so depending this, unmute yourself, George.
We lost you again. You were talking about the 3rd of the month and then we lost your sound.
Well, I was asking you if you were recording this.
Yes.
Well, the recording will be sent out to the full list because I know that Judge McBride, the mayor, Adrian Chester, who sent their regrets, they all want to see the recording because I know the mayor is very concerned about what's going on in Columbus and the work that we're doing. It doesn't prevent crime. We're just a small nonprofit, and we understand that parents being involved are the key to how children succeed in school and into plugging the school to prison pipeline. So I don't see anybody writing in the chat, George. And thank you, Sergeant Everard, for your phone number. I will give you a call. George, where are we on the agenda? Could you finish out the meeting?
Certainly. We've got announcements and any requests from partners and then setting the next meeting. But let's say, give Danita Gibson Lloyd, who joined us, a chance to say hello. Danita?
Good morning.
Good morning. We know you're at work, but just wanted you to say hello. It's great to see your face and hear your voice.
Thank you. It's good to be here. Excited about the work that we're doing, even though sometimes we don't always get the participation that we are hoping for, but we are keeping hope alive that we will continue our efforts and make a difference. So We are still focused on strong partnerships and working to help educate our youth. So thank you for allowing me to speak, and I will go back on mute unless you have
Alrighty
some.
then.
Thank you.
Are there
Well,
any-
George,
Yes,
let me just say that for everybody's information, it has been such a joy working with Danita Gibson Lloyd. Danita is the actual SPICE coordinator. So over the next few months, she and I will be working closely together to make sure that Jennifer Ledeni and Destiny Wallace, who have agreed to become the new joint SPICE coordinators in November. And so they will be working directly with the parents, because both of them are actually parents with children in elementary school. It's amazing how Jennifer's son, I think he may be going to middle school in the next year or so, but Destiny has a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old. So her children will be in elementary school for a while, but they're the ones who will be given the checkbook in November. I hear what you're saying, but we're going to keep the partisan politics out of the meeting for now. But I see you wrote it in the chat, and so that's true. We have quite a few challenges going on in the upcoming elections. Everybody in districts 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, and the mayor's office is up. And I believe there are challenges in at least 3 of the districts and the mayor's office. So thank you, Terrence, for reminding us that we have a very big year ahead of us with the elections in May. So I suppose that's Terrence's announcement, George. Can you check to see if there are any other announcements before we find out from Alyssa what date she wants to set for the March meeting? So it's on you, George.
I don't see anything in the chat. If you do have an announcement, you can say stack or raise your hand. I can't see everyone, but I can hear if you say stack. And I think a hand, I'll find where our hand is raised. Okay, there's nothing in the chat. So, Alyssa, the next meeting for March is? Alyssa Williams, I know you're here. Or you were here. I've got to stop this so I can see.
March 10th.
March 10th at 11 a.m., Alyssa?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, then.
Well, let's make sure that everyone is okay with that date. March 10th, that is going to be on a Thursday. So it works for me. So can we get just a confirmation from Goodwill, the Housing Authority, and the other partner organization, and possibly Sergeant Everhart? So can we get a confirmation from everyone that March 10th at 11 a.m. works?
Yes, that'll be fine with us at the housing.
And Trish has put yes in the chat. So it's okay for Goodwill. It works for Terrence Flowers.
Well,
Sergeant
it works for
Everhart?
me.
Does it work
Yes,
for
I'll be
you?
glad to attend. Can I put my email address in the chat so I can be notified directly as opposed to it finding
Absolutely.
its way to me? Okay, will do.
And Alyssa, I will give that email list to you. It's open there. You could just copy everybody, but I'll send the list to you so it's easy, Alyssa.
Yeah, because we do want to make it an easy transition, George. And you know how low tech I am. So we'll work with Alyssa to make sure she has everything she needs to facilitate the March meeting. And let's give George a big round of applause for her assistance from North Carolina for these months that she's been helping. So everybody can put the thumbs up for George Friday.
Thank you. Thank you very much. The recording will go out later today. I'll send it around the link to everyone along with the chat. Take care.
Well, thank you. We're adjourned a few minutes early. Great job, George. And so George and I'm going to be visiting George in February, and we're going to be working on a $50,000 grant and a $2,500 grant. So George is our most prominent consultant in the organization. And while she's leaving us here with a COT strategy program, George is going to be working with the Southern Anti-Racism Network for the foreseeable future. And so I'll see you in February, George.
All right.
Thank you.
All right.
And
Take care.
See everybody later.
Bye.
Danita. Call me later, Danita. Thank you.